All right, we'll get a new 30-minute game going. Last game went pretty quickly, so I have the opportunity to record 2 games today, which is very exciting. Ooh, we get the Scandinavian-defense. So I think the move here is to take. Their queen will come out and take. We scare it off with our knight, and they check immediately. Okay. We'll block with our bishop, developing a piece. And then other knight comes out. Oh, how does this work? If the knight comes out, they take it and we can't take back because our bishop is pinned. Do knight out like that. That looks sloppy. They can't take here because our knight guards that square. I guess that would be an even trade. Or if they take, then we do that. Maybe we just push here. H3 sort of threatening to take their bishop and open up the H file for us. Does that do anything bad for us? We take... I don't think their queen can come anywhere else. And if they take, that gives us the opportunity to develop yet another piece. Yeah, I like H3 here. See what that looks like. They can't really mount any other threats. Maybe this is coming pawn to E6, bishop to D6, creating a battery of their queen and their bishop, threatening to checkmate on H2. But if that happens, I think that's fine. We will be prepared for that. It's not fine to get checkmated, but we will be prepared for that eventuality. Let's see. So maybe we push a pawn here, get our dark squared bishop out. Dark squared bishop out, and then threatening to take here on H5. Could we push all the way? I think we could also just push all the way to D4. The pawn is supported by our queen. I think they would need to move their queen perhaps out of the way. Yeah, D4 looks interesting here. I like the sound of that. Potentially opening up a check down this diagonal that our knight is blocking on right now. Let's go ahead and push all the way to D4. I don't see why not. We still have many defenders on this piece, so I'm not super worried about it. We can still get castled kingside. We could get castled queenside if we wanted to. Just a matter of making the right moves and reacting calmly and thoughtfully to our opponent's fairly aggressive attack. If they move their queen over here, we get to take this piece for free. Not looking amazing for our opponent. They do need to move their queen somewhere. I'm wondering where they're going to move it to. They take. We will take back. Still need to move their queen. No more checks to give, unfortunately, for our opponent. And we can proceed accordingly. We could get castled here. I want to see what our other options are real quick. Get castle and get a knight out to f4, further chasing away their queen. Looks decent. I don't see another way to chase away their queen, but we have 2 pieces developed. We're about to get a third. We'll be castled. Yeah, this seems Good. We've got a couple pawns pushed. We have an escape square for our king. Let's get castled. I'm feeling good about this. Their dark square bishop is trapped. Their queen having blocked up the e7 pawn, which I should think they would like to push. They push c6 for maybe to block our knight from coming out, or to block this check from our queen. Or that's my guess as to why they made this move. We could push here, and takes, and then we have this fork on c6. That looks pretty good, and this is all supported by our queen. We could also go ahead and get our dark squared bishop out. Maybe we play that first, just bishop out to e3, connect the rooks. Yeah. We got all of our minor pieces developed. Queen and rooks coming next. They get a piece out, adding an attacker to the square. So now if we push, takes, and that doesn't look quite as good. We can scare their queen away, I think, with what is this? Knight to f4, further activating our piece and opening up the light squares for our queen. That looks decent. Coming out like this, I don't think that does anything for us, really. Yeah, let's activate this piece a little bit further. Then maybe get a rook out to e1, attacking this. Yeah. Actually, queen to e2 looks good, and then rook over to d1, supporting this pawn a little bit. Or we could play queen up to d2, and then get our rook behind it, and then push. Comes with a lot more venom. We could also potentially just push now that both of our knights are staring down this d5 square. That actually looks really powerful. So we push, they take, we take, they take, we take, and then our queen is supporting that knight. Yeah, that seems really good. And then, oh yeah, I think I see potentially some tactics to come here. If they do choose to take on d5, they do. So my thought is knight takes, knight takes, knight takes. They make some move. I don't know what it's going to be necessarily, and then we play knight out to f6, check. Well, I guess that doesn't quite work, does it? Because if we take their queen, they have it defended twice. So that doesn't quite work out. I think we still do take. Takes. This at least works out. Takes. To get our pawn back. And so our opponent doesn't have a pawn in the center. Lots of trades. Rook out to e1 looks good. All right, let's take a look at this. So we have the option to take here. I think they can just take back. That doesn't do anything for us. Over here with check, they have to either move their king or take with this piece. That does open up their queen, but I don't think it accomplishes anything for us. I guess if we do like this and they move, no, then we don't have this check available to us. We have this check. We do like this, but that also drops the piece And I don't think that's exactly what we're looking for at this juncture. So I think we drop our knight back. Let's drop our knight back to, let's say, c3, opening up the possibility for an exchange of queens. I don't know if that's going to favor us or favor them, but I think that is unfortunately the move here. The queens are staring at each other, very charged situation. Taking might be good for our opponent, just to remove some of this firepower from our attack. Otherwise, I like the idea of queen to e2 and then bringing your rook out to the d file to hit their queen. Or queen to f3 actually looks really good as well. Staring down this b7 pawn. Okay, great. Let's do that. It looks like they're planning on getting castled kingside. Let's get our queen out of the way. Actually, here's an idea. Bishop out. Castle takes, queen takes queen. What happens if that doesn't work out? Bishop out, and they just decide to take immediately. Well, then, yeah, no good. I think it's better to play queen to f3. Let's do that. Staring down this pawn, we'll get a rook out to d1 in short order. Our rooks are connected, so they're protecting each other. It's really nice. Expecting to see castles scare their queen away, and then maybe we'll be permitted to take on b7, winning a pawn and getting a queen out onto the 7th rank. That looks really good. They don't get castled. Interesting. Let's go ahead and attack their queen. Don't have a lot of squares they can move to. Okay, they're offering a queen trade. Very interesting. Takes with check, allows them to develop a piece. I don't want to help our opponent develop if I can avoid it. This doesn't do anything, that just drops a piece. Move our knight over here to get it in the way of the queens. Very charged situation. I like knight up to e4. I'm not quite ready to trade off our queens, and we're threatening their dark squared bishop, which I think is a fairly strong piece. I guess that does... They can take here on b2. Take here on b2. We have this check that's supported by our rook. We force their king to move away. I would trade a pawn for exposing their king. That looks pretty good. So we'll see if this is an option. And if they want to trade a knight for a bishop, that feels fine too. I think either way, actually, we'll have this check available to us. If they do castle here, taking is very powerful because it just opens up their king immediately. And then we have nasty ideas like queen to g3, rook lift, all sorts of unpleasant nastiness for our opponent. I think knight to e4 was a strong move. They want to take, that's fine, because we have check available to us. Check, and then they move out, then we check them again, and it just looks... Yeah, not looking good for our opponent. I like this so far. I'm feeling pretty good about our situation. They haven't developed 3 of their pieces. We have everything but one developed. We're castled. They are not. In fact, castling would be very dangerous for our opponent right now. What is the move for our opponent? What is the move that they should make? Maybe knight out to d7. Adding another defender to this bishop and then permitting castling. Nope, they take the pawn. Okay. So we're able to come here to d6, forcing their king to move somewhere. Let's see, valid options for their king are, if they move back, I think we have checkmate with our knight supporting on f7. That looks great. What are the valid spots for their king? So this has check. They can't move there. Moving out into the path of the rook seems very dangerous, and like they're going to lose a piece, so probably not these two. Honestly, either of these, I think our queen comes down to f7 with check, and things start to look very bad for our opponent. A queen and a knight, supported by this rook on d1. I don't think this game is going to last much longer. So, king to f8 is checkmate with queen takes on f7. I think king to e7, is that also? No, king to e7, they have king to d8. So that looks bad. And then, of course, d7 or d8 runs into, we move our knight out of the way with check, hitting the rook, so we can come out to like f7 with our rook or something. Or we could play, oh, this looks even more dangerous. So king comes out, say to d8, which I think might be the safest square for our opponent. Knight takes on b7, double check, in fact. Removing the only protector of the queen, and we win their queen. Okay, so I think, honestly, the move might be queen takes on d6. Otherwise, they're going to lose the queen outright. They're going to lose the queen or the game here. They might as well get as much material as possible for the piece. They take, we take, I don't know, knight comes out maybe? Yeah, that's not looking very good for our opponent. I don't see, other than queen takes on d6, I don't see how they escape this. They need to deal with the check somehow. All of the king move options are super unappealing, so I think just taking the piece, I don't think that's going to do it. So let's take a look. We have queen takes on f7, valid spots for the king. All of these are hit by the queen, so the only valid spot. So yeah, so queen to f7, king moves to d8. Knight comes out here, double check, king has to move. And then, I mean, we must have checkmate there. King moves to like c8, or no, king moves to c8 because the 7th rank is blocked by the queen. No, king can't move to c8 either. No, king can move to c8. Okay, because our knight has moved. A lot of moving parts here. Whatever happens, certainly queen takes on f7 is the move here. We're protected by our knight. King d8 is the only legal move. King d8. Maybe actually, what do we think about knight to e8? King moves. We don't quite have checkmate, do we? Check. King moves. Oh, we're so close. So close. I mean, this can't be bad. Oh, I guess we have bishop out. This might be a little bit stronger. Bishop out to g5, check, adding another piece to the attack and giving us more options to coordinate. Oh, actually, that's checkmate, isn't it? Because they can't move here. This is blocked by our queen. Queen, oops, queen and bishop. Yeah, there we go. What am I missing here? How do they block this check? Oh my gosh. All right. Takes. That doesn't quite do it, does it? Hit him with the double check here, I guess. I haven't quite won their queen yet. I mean, I guess. I think we just keep making moves with check until checkmate reveals itself. Oh, actually, maybe. That takes. Oh, we're so close. Let's come down here. They take. We take back. That's not it. Back here is check. And then king moves to back to d8. Takes, yeah, I think we do something like that. With apologies to our opponent, who I'm sure is going to hate us after this. It's a lot of forced moves. Opponent moves back to d8. Let's take here, trade off this piece, and try to figure out how to finish off this attack. Again, taking is probably the move here, just to mitigate a little bit the strength of this attack. Material is still pretty much even right now, unbelievably. But our opponent's king is so exposed. Yep, so let's trade here. They take here. We could... Takes. King moves, probably in one of these directions, e7 or c7. We take the rook. I guess they have a moment to breathe then. I'm sure we'll go over the review and I'll have missed mate and one repeatedly, but I'm just not quite seeing it. With that queen on c6, it's hard to figure out exactly where the checkmate is. Okay, so they take, we take back, forking their king and their rook. They'll come up. Got a couple options. I think, yeah, the move here is probably to take. Let's get up a little bit on material. Probably knight comes out. Yep. Move here with check. Queen takes. Queen takes. It seems like a decent trade. We could also move here with check, but I don't think that does anything for us. Is there any way we can win their queen? I don't think so. Is there any more expedient way to do this? I don't think so. Maybe we just take here, and that seems a little bit cleaner. Whatever. Check. King moves. I guess actually probably to b6, huh? If king moves, let's see. That doesn't do it. Oh, maybe this was a mistake. Yeah, I think this was a mistake. Because their king can move, and we'll need to... well, I guess if king moves... There. Check. Queen comes down. Gosh, that doesn't quite do it, does it? I messed up this attack pretty badly. Let's reset with many apologies to our opponent, because this certainly did not work out the way I had intended. Let's go back here. King moves, queen takes, and then we'll let our opponent make a move. Probably up this way, I think, is strong enough. It's going to be sort of a drawn-out in-game with our opponent. I think defending fairly effectively, and then me not finding the right sequence of moves to make checkmate. Maybe if they come back, I don't. Oh man, queen over here with check feels just mean. I think I would rather just take this pawn and try to hoover up the remainder of their pieces. Yeah, let's do that. Give our opponent a minute to make some decisions. Knight is pinned. Queen takes knight seems decent. Trading these pieces off. But then we have knight over here, king moves, and then queen takes knight. So they would trade a queen and a knight for a rook and a knight, which of course is not a good trade. Not looking super hot for our opponent here. Maybe we can double up our rooks somehow. Maybe like rook up to d3 protected by that pawn, and then rook over to d1. Important not to get sloppy here. They bring a rook out. This seems like a strong move. Maybe they're planning on, I don't know, something like this. Maybe we just get doubled up. We move a rook to d2. It seems a little bit better. And to add a defender to this f2 pawn that it seems like maybe our opponent is targeting. I'm not 100% sure what their idea is, but I don't want to encourage any sort of nastiness. But we get our rooks doubled up. Knight comes out with check maybe to here. Or I guess knight comes out to check here. Just there they can take, but then we have rook takes on d7 with check. Right. rook comes out to f6, maybe preparing to add an attacker if they push to e5. That looks decent. I think we'll go ahead and double up, as discussed. Check. Moves, and then we win their knight. We win yet another piece. We're putting a lot of pressure on this d7 square, or we will in a moment. I guess we also have knight out to e4, defended by our queen, but it will not be defended by our queen for very long if our queen joins this attack on the d7 square. Actually, that looks really good. Knight to e4 to start the attack, forcing their rook to move, and then getting into the remainder of their pieces here. We're up a full piece at this point, and we're up several pawns, so I think just trading down is going to be the most effective. We have, I guess we don't have any checks available to us. I guess, yeah, out here with check. No, let's hit the rook, protected by our queen. And maybe even more effective than rook takes on d7, just rook up to d6, pinning their queen to their king. I think that is probably the strongest solution to our problem here. They push, rook up still works really well. They take, and then we push up again, supported by our knight. Yeah, so I think regardless of what our opponent plays, rook to d6 is probably coming up pretty soon here. Rook d6 is coming up pretty soon. Where did it all go wrong for our opponent? I think playing a very aggressive Scandinavian defense that we defended against successfully. Oh, that's a good move. I wonder if we can check our opponent with b1. Could fork their pieces here. That's a good move, hitting our queen. So I wonder if we take up here, takes, and they've traded a queen for a queen and a rook. That's, yeah, well done, good find. So I wonder, does this check do anything for us? It forces their king to one of many squares. I don't think that does anything for us. I think, yeah, we just... Or I guess we can't move our queen anywhere. I guess we need to move our queen down to h4 to continue defending our knight. That seems like the move. And if they come down to press their attack further, we can take their rook. Let's do that. So protecting and attacking. Expecting to see knight to g6, in which case we just win the rook outright. Boop, and they take, and then I think the game is over. I've reached the end of my narration capabilities. I'm running out of words to say. I don't know how much more exciting will happen in this game, but that's all right. That's all right. Opponent has 30 minutes to figure out a defense. I got a buzz on my phone. I'll take just a quick peek. Nothing too crazy. I got a text message about my hearing instruments that are due for a routine maintenance. They push. I think it's a strong move. I guess takes, check, and we've forked their queen and their king regardless. So we're orchestrating a queen trade. Or I guess a trade of queens and rooks. So we take a rook. Queen takes queen, rook up a check, queen take... Oh, our opponent resigns. Okay. Bummer. That was going to be a quick trade of pieces. Let's take a look at the review. Sure don't have unlimited review, but we can turn on the analysis and switch to the analysis board. Yeah. Analysis showing mate in 12, mate in 11 for white. Let's take a look at this again. Scandi, nothing too crazy. I think we reacted correctly to this. D4 was a strong move. D4 was the best engine move, so I'm glad I identified that. Going all the way up to scare the queen away. Bishop takes, knight takes, queen back. We get castled. Yeah, nothing too crazy out of the opening. I think we took our time and defended well against a fairly aggressive attack. Trading up some pieces. Knight c3, yeah, dropping our knight back was a good move. Starting to lose the edge a little bit. Yeah, we hit their queen, and then I think things fall apart pretty quickly from here. Yeah, taking that pawn was a huge mistake. We have knight d6 check, and then the attack begins. So let's see if I missed any mate in X opportunities. Queen takes f7 check, king d8, knight takes on b7 was a little bit stronger. Yeah, so taking here, that was a nice idea, but I missed that. Bishop f6. So we had mate in 16. Takes on b7, mate in 15, king c8. I missed mate in, or the engine is going back and forth saying maybe we have mate in, you know, teens, and then maybe saying instead that we have other opportunities. King d8, so they identify correctly. I guess queen takes d6 would have ended in checkmate. Take here, knight comes out, yeah. Apologies to our opponent for sort of dragging this out, but they defended really well. We did not, while we had a substantial advantage, we did not have any checkmating opportunities. Here we go, now we're getting into it. Our opponent resigns here. Rook, let's see. Yeah, rook b1 check. Has a mate in 9. Let's see what that looks like. Rook b1, king to c7. Is sort of retreating effectively. Knight takes on f6. We win there. Knight, king to c8, queen to b6. All these are mate in 5. King moves away. Queen to b4. Queen to b6. Queen takes on f8 check. Ooh, that's interesting. Oh, and these are rooks supporting both of these open files. Okay. Yeah, the most resilient is king to b7. Rook to d7 check. King to a6. Queen to a3 check. Queen to a3 check. Queen to a5. Rook d6 checkmate. Look at that. Sort of crossing the king like that. Brutal. Okay, so I think, yeah, our opponent was likely to fall eventually. But yeah, I think just out of that opening, getting their queen exposed and allowing us to develop pieces by hitting their queen, what I think was dangerous, and then allowing us to win tempos on their uncastled king, both very dangerous. Yeah, and then we just had this massive attack. Cool. Another good game. Reached an all-time high of 1133. Very exciting stuff. I'm going to call it here. Have a good one, y'all.